Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're here, it's because you read the title and you want to hear me read. I want to preface that I'm on page 8 and 9 of the 4 agreements, and I just started this book, obviously because I'm on page 4 and 9, but so far, literally, I love this story. Literally, I thought it was going to be a different type of vibe, more of like a self-help book, but it's more so of like a telling a story about self-help and how to self-help, if that makes sense. Here's minutes of me reading A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom, a Tolic, the 4 Agreements Wisdom Book by Don Miguel Ruiz. I also want to preface, I'm not that good at pronouncing words. The 4 Agreements, page 8. We pretend to be what we are not because we are afraid of being rejected. The fear of being rejected becomes the fear of not being good enough. Wow, that's deep. Eventually, we become someone that we are not. We become a copy of mama's beliefs, daddy's beliefs, society's beliefs, and religion's beliefs. All our normal tendencies are lost in the process of domestication. And when we are old enough for our minds to understand, we learn the word no. The adults say, don't do this and don't do that. We rebel and say no. We rebel because we are defending our freedom. We want to be ourselves, but we are very little, and the adults are big and strong. After a certain time, we are afraid because we know that every time we do something wrong, we are going to be punished. The domestication is so strong that at a certain point in our lives, we no longer need anyone to domesticate us. We don't need mom or dad, the school, or the church to domesticate us. We are so well trained that we are our own domesticator. Wow. The chapter is called Domestication and the Dream of the Planet. Page 9. We are the auto-domesticated animal. We can now domesticate ourselves according to the same belief system we were giving, and using the same system of punishment and reward. We punish ourselves when we don't follow the rules according to our belief system. We reward ourselves when we are the good boy or good girl. The belief system is like the book of law that rules our minds. Without question, whatever is in the book of law is our truth. We base all of our judgment according to the book of law, even if these judgments go against our own inner nature. Even moral laws like the 10 Commandments are programmed into our minds in the process of domestication, one by one. There's a hair on my book. All these agreements go into the book of law, and these agreements rule our dream. Our dream meaning our life, our society, our reality. There is something in our minds that judges everybody and everything, including the weather, the dog, the cat, everything. The inner judge uses what is our book of law to judge everything we do and don't do, everything we think and don't think, and everything we feel and don't feel. Everything lives under the tyranny of this judge. Every time we do something that goes against the book of law, the judge says we are guilty. We need to be punished. We should be ashamed. This happens many times a day, day after day, for all the years of our lives. There is another part of us that receives the judgments, and this part is called the victim. The victim carries the blame, the guilt, and the shame. It is a part of us that says, poor me, I'm not good enough. I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not worthy of love. Poor me. The big judge agrees and says, yes, you are not good enough. And this is all based on a belief system that we never chose to believe. These beliefs are so strong that even years later, when we are exposed to new concepts and try to make our own decisions, we find that these beliefs still control our lives. Whatever goes against the book of law will make you feel a funny sensation in your solar plex. It's called fear. Breaking the rules in this book of law opens your emotional wounds. And your reaction is to create emotional poison. Because everything that is in this book of law has to be true. Anything that challenges what you believe is going to make you feel unsafe. Even if the book of law is wrong, it makes you feel safe. That reminded me of like when people, including me, stay inside their comfort zone because it feels safe even if it's not good for you. And I actually just experienced this type of situation where I just finished my gaslighting book. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to like 3 videos ago, something like a couple weeks ago, where I was on the last 2 pages of my gaslighting book, and I realized that someone that I was in contact with, I just saw a sign, but someone that I was in contact with, energetically mostly, wasn't good for me, but I realized that I loved their energy and I was attracted to their energy because I was used to the manipulative, gaslighting, toxic energy that they were exuding out. So, yeah. Interesting. That is why we need a great deal of courage to challenge our own beliefs. Because even if we know we didn't choose all these beliefs, it is also true that we agree to all of them. The agreement is so strong that even if we understand the concept of it not being true, we feel the blame, the guilt, and the shame that occurs if we go against these rules, like saying no. Just as the government has a book of laws that rule the society's dream, our belief system is the book of laws that rule our personal dream. All these laws exist in our mind. We believe them, and the judge inside us bases everything on these rules. The judge decrees, and the victim suffers the guilt and punishment. But who's to say there's justice in this dream? True justice is paying only once for each mistake. True injustice is paying more than once for each mistake. Wow. True justice is acknowledging where there is right and wrongs, but not holding yourself tied to those right and wrongs. Because injustice is holding yourself tied to those right and wrongs and mistakes or things that you did right. I feel like this happens mostly, well, vice versa, because there's a polar energy to everything. But the main message that I think comes through for me specifically is the true injustice is paying more than once for each mistake. Like saying you spill coffee on the table, and it's like holding yourself accountable, because obviously you spilled coffee, but it's like if you continuously hold yourself accountable and blame yourself for spilling the coffee, or that's all you hold yourself to a standard of, that's injustice to yourself. So true justice is paying only once for each mistake, acknowledging that the coffee was spilled, but also acknowledging that it was just a mistake, and that's it. How many times do we pay for one mistake? The answer is thousands of times. The human is the only animal on earth that pays 1,000 times for the same mistake. The rest of the animals pay once for every mistake they make, but not us. We have a powerful memory. We make a mistake, we judge ourselves, we find ourselves guilty, and we punish ourselves. If justice exists, then that was enough. We don't need to do it again. But every time we remember, we judge ourselves again, we are guilty again, and we punish ourselves again and again and again. If we have a wife or husband, he or she also reminds us of the mistakes, so we can judge ourselves again, punish ourselves again, and find ourselves guilty again. Is this fair? How many times do we make our spouse, our children, or our parents pay for the same mistake? Wow. That's so true. Every time we remember the mistake, we blame them again and send them all the emotional poison. We feel at the injustice, and then we make them pay again for the same mistake. Is that justice? The judge in the mind is wrong because the belief system, the book of law, is wrong. The whole dream is based on false law. 95% of the beliefs we have stoned in our minds are nothing but lies, and we suffer because we believe all these lies. In the dream of the planet, it is normal for humans to suffer, to live in fear, and to create emotional dramas. The outside dream is not a pleasant dream. It is a dream of violence, a dream of fear, a dream of war, a dream of injustice. The personal dream of humans will vary, but globally, it is mostly a nightmare. If we look at human society, we see a place so difficult to live in because it is ruled by fear. Throughout the world, we see humans suffering, anger, revenge, addictions, violence in the streets, and tremendous injustice. It may exist at different levels in different countries around the world, but fear is controlling the outside dream. Page 14, the Four Agreements. If we compare the dream of human society with the description of hell that religions all around the world have promulgated, we find they are exactly the same. Religion says that hell is a place of punishment, a place of fear, pain, and suffering, a place where the fire burns you. Fire is generated by emotions that come from fear. Whenever we feel the emotions of anger, jealousy, envy, or hate, we experience a fire burning within us. And that is PETA. We are living in a dream of hell. If you consider hell as a state of mind, then hell is all around us. Others may warn us that if we don't do what they say we should do, we will go to hell. Bad news, we are already in hell, including the people who tell us that. No human can condemn another to hell because we are already here. Others can put us into a deep hell, true. Others can put us into a deeper hell, true, but only if we allow this to happen. Every human has his or her own personal dream, and just like the society dream, it is often ruled by fear. We learn to dream hell in our own life, in our personal dream. The same fears manifest in different ways for each person, of course. But we experience anger, jealousy, hate, envy, and other negative emotions. Our personal dream can also become an ongoing nightmare where we suffer and live in the state of fear, but we do not need to dream a nightmare. It is possible to enjoy a pleasant dream. It is possible to enjoy a pleasant dream. All of humanity is searching for truth. justice, and beauty. We are on an ethereal search for the truth because we only believe in the lies we have stored in our minds. We are searching for justice because in the belief system there is no justice. We search for beauty because it doesn't matter how beautiful a person is. We don't believe that person has beauty. We keep searching and searching when everything is already within us. There is no truth to find. Wherever we turn our heads, all we see is the truth. But with the agreements and beliefs we have stored in our mind, we have no eyes for this truth. Wow. There is no truth to find. Wherever we turn our heads, all we see is the truth. But with the agreements and beliefs we have stored in our minds, the conditioning, we have no eyes for this truth. We do not see this truth because we are blind. What blinds us are all those false beliefs we have in our minds. We have the need to be right and make other wrongs. That is the 4 agreements. Thank you. I felt like reading, but I also felt like sharing. So yeah, I might do this more often, or I might not. But my intuition is telling me that I will. So yeah, if you like me reading, let me know. Maybe I'll continue reading on here. Anyways, yeah, that was the 4 agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and that's him. What a sweet peach. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah.